Slippers of Versace in my daydream. Just to gain a little insight, I moved into your eyeline and moonbeams. I bet your exes scarred your heart. Bet you're the fool who fell too hard. Bet I could show you after dark. Bet I hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Thinking chronologically, ecstasy technology, MDMA, ASM, marijuana. Make out on the balcony, it's organic alchemy. Rub my hands and I'll rub on your shoulders. I bet your exes scarred your heart. Bet you're the fool who fell too hard. Bet I hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Hit you with that bad bitch thunder lightning, super frightening, yeah. Serotonin got me screaming love, love, love now. Serotonin got me screaming love, love, love now. Serotonin got me screaming love, 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 love,
Alrighty, good morning everyone. Hope you guys have been well the last 2 weeks. Just getting settled in. Quick shout before we get started. I got a new PC. I have streamed a couple times in the Paragon private streams, and it's gone alright, and I haven't had any hiccups, but if we have any issues, please let me know. Like if the screen is frozen or something like that, I don't always look at OBS. So just spam the chat if I'm if I'm screwing it up in any way. I don't want to speak over a frozen screen for 10 minutes. I've done that a couple times. Other things, before we get started, quick shout out to BonkBot, the new stream sponsor. You guys have probably seen the logo and the thumbnails a bit, but they've got a whole rework coming for their not on-chain, but I guess on-chain, but for their trading platform. I can't say too much yet, but there's going to be a lot of details dropping very, very, very fucking soon. So I'll let you guys know when they're released. Hopefully I can get you guys some maybe beta access and stuff to some of the new features. And also found a way to put a little widget for the Spotify at the bottom of the screen. So when people ask me to stream the song titles and stuff, now they're there for you guys. If you like any of the background music. Hopefully it doesn't get me taken off of YouTube. But yeah, good morning everyone. Send us up, please. I mean, I'm hoping for it too, man. We're gonna talk about some of the high time frame stuff. I think some things look absolutely amazing on high time frame. It's just all has to do with, are we gonna get people spot TWAPing up here? So far this entire rally, it's been the Sailor show. I think, as you guys know, that the guy has willed his way to get us back to all-time highs. I don't know how many of those orange dot maps that he's shown on Sundays, and we've been rallying off of it, so now it just comes to the part at range highs where, do we have enough Bitcoin mindshare to get people to start buying hand over foot at 108K, 109K, 110K, 111, 112, 113. Bitcoin of old, I'd say probably early days, 2013, 17, even maybe 2021. There's just the hype and momentum kind of carries you into price discovery. You don't really need a reason. It's just kind of Bitcoin's up, and when Bitcoin goes up, it goes up a lot. This cycle, it feels to me, from my perspective, I know some people share this mindset, but many don't agree with me here, that there's always been some sort of narrative to help push us to these kind of just insane rallies, right? We've always had something in the backdrop that gets people to go, I'm not buying high because XY event is happening a week or a month or 2 months from now, and I need exposure to that event because that event is going to be so bullish, right? And then, that's what really gets us to get into these price discovery moments and insane rallies. We did that in 2023 off the back of the ETFs. We did that early in 2024 off the back of insane kind of boomer flows, the most successful ETF in history. We did that last Q4 with Trump is going to be president, or the likelihood that Trump becomes president. The odds have been increasing. Oh, wait, he's actually winning. Let's fucking go. He's so bullish for crypto. He's going to bring regulation, and it's going to bring clarity, and it's going to bring this and that and the other thing. And it worked out really well. We're sort of missing that at the moment right now. I look at this rally as the beginning sell-off was kind of just, okay, we've had a lot of froth in crypto. We have a lot of scams. We have a lot of this. We have a lot of that. We got the Trump meme coin launching and marking the Pico top. We need to sell off on some of this froth. And following that, equity sold off really hard. And Bitcoin did something remarkable, which is show extreme relative strength at the lows despite the macro narrative, despite the FUD, despite tariffs, despite this, that, and the other thing. And down at these lows, they did the pause, the 90-day pause and everything like that. So you got this relief from the FUD. And I don't think anyone saw Bitcoin running straight lining back to all-time highs, right? I certainly didn't. I think this point right here was my point of, let me take a step back and reassess. When we broke above the 98K composite value area high from February, that was a moment to step on the gas and start fucking sending some alts, right? Which is what we did with virtuals and BONK and other things like that. But yeah, I mean, coming back to my original point, we're back at the range highs. We're back at all-time highs. Some altcoins look fantastic. Like, I'm just going to quickly talk about Solana, and then we'll come back to Bitcoin. Overlapping weekly trend, daily bullish market structure, taking out the high that led to this brutal sell-off, right? We have the structure, we have the trends, we're trading outside of the 2024 value. Yes, we're dipping into it, but this is, in hindsight, could be one of those phenomenal buy the dip opportunities for, you know, an explosion of the 200s. It could be that, because we're retesting everything perfectly right here. Can we come a little bit lower? Of course, right? We can drop all the way back into the 150s. But if Bitcoin just wants to fall apart up here and roll over, I mean, there's nothing that's going to just magically save Solana. So it's one of those situations right now where anything you're trading, you know, any coin you're trading, whether it's at support or in a trend or whatever, you're essentially just trading Bitcoin right here. There's going to be moments in chop or early in uptrends where altcoins can kind of do their own thing and they don't really need the approval from Daddy Bitcoin. As you guys have seen from the FARTCOIN rally, like FARTCOIN didn't ask for approval before continuing to do this markup. It actually bottomed way before Bitcoin. But in this kind of a scenario, I think a lot of altcoins are going to be requesting permission, if you understand what I mean. All right, we're going to stop there. See if you guys have any questions. Yeah, just a lot of good mornings. Have you approved any of your wife's business ideas? She's had a couple good ones, actually. She's had a couple good ones that I'm low-key into, but nothing, you know, nothing seriously considered yet. Can we get a button for the EMA? Yes, we absolutely need to do that. I ran out of time before the stream, but I was about to set that up. I was about to go on ChatGPT and look for a bot to put in chat so someone could just do !EMA and get the EMAs. You guys want to do me a favor, though? If you guys are going to stick around the entire stream, if someone asks about the EMAs, would you do me a favor and answer it in chat for me so we don't have to waste time? Next week, I promise, I'll get the bot. I've been putting it off. That's on me, dude. Like, I should have done this weeks ago or even months ago. I usually watch your streams after you finish. Just came here to say hello. Oh, nice, man. Yeah, hello. You probably, one of the dudes probably want to watch on 2x speed and have the, you know, the timestamps and everything like that. I can't hate. Can you chart Hex? That can't be a serious question. How's life? Life is good, dude. Life is good. I honestly can't say, I mean, I can honestly comfortably say this is the like most stress-free that I've been, probably since I was a teenager, right? Like, when I was a teenager playing tennis, it was stress there, but it was kind of this just delusional mindset of like, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to play on tour, right? So like, you're a kid. You can't, how stressed can you be being a teenager, right? Teenagers aren't the most stressed people in the world. Then it was like everything after that was just a wave of stress and adulthood and everything. And then markets are stressful, but I think I've talked about this. I've hit a lot of the goals. That I set out for myself with trading. Like, they weren't the most insane goals of all time by any means. Like, I'm not just like set for life or anything like that. We're not there, but just happy and taking a step back. And then 2025, I came into this year going like, I want to take 6 months off from trading, and I obviously didn't do that. I've been here and active, but it's not the most active. Like, I'm not putting in 16-hour days. I'm not, you know, waking up to alerts and trading. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm as chill as can be, treating this kind of like a 9 to 5, wake up, trade New York session, pre-New York Open, and go to sleep with no positions 99% of the time. Anyways, ramble over. Charlie got him. Charlie, that's Charlie's? Like, what is this? Is like alt YouTube account? How are you playing this market right now? A really good question. I want to get into that positioning ideas and everything like that, but essentially the way that I've played this from the lows is like, I bought Bitcoin at the lows. I TP'd into here when we, you know, like I discussed with you guys endlessly on stream, like the importance, or the importance that I was giving this February composite value. When we started breaking above this and have spot bids coming above this is where I wanted to launch the altcoins. And I actually got some pullbacks into here. So like, the coins that I picked up were like virtuals down here. I got BONK off the daily trends, SUI. So I just started sending some altcoins. And then after that, the market gave us a couple opportunities for like 4-hour trend trades. I've taken some of those. But this week, opening up the week, my mentality has shifted a little bit back to just trading intraday. And the reason being for that is because we're trading at all-time highs, right? I mean, we're not officially at all-time highs, but this is as close as you can get without being literally like at all-time highs. And I think there's going to be, just like we saw yesterday with Sunday, which is a topic for the stream that I want to discuss, is like the kind of the flows and stuff that was happening here on Sunday, which isn't going to be too hard for you guys to figure out in the first place. But I think with this kind of, I guess you would call it, what's the right word I'm looking for? Just a moment of uncertainty, or a moment of like a little bit of complexity. I think I want to take it back to just trading intraday. So that's my goal for this week. One of the trades that I like, I kind of memed about it on Twitter this morning, would be, you know, we got a nice push up off Monday, right? This is our Sunday night move down. This is our Monday move up. If there's a trade to be taken this week, one of the ones I really like is sweeping Monday's low, right? So if we're gonna get another puke, maybe, you know, later today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, and we come back down to take Monday's low and get a really good reaction here, I think you can send it back to the weekly open, Monday's high, maybe all-time high, right? So that would be the sweep that I'm looking for. The deeper one would come from previous week's low, right? So this is previous week's low. This is the 4-hour 100. The 4-hour 100 can probably just keep crawling upwards. The later in the week that this happens, if it happens, the higher the H4 100 can go, right? So that could be a really nice confluence if you're trying to like knife catch one of these wicks. I think the monthly VWAP is here as well. So let me pull that up. Yeah, the monthly VWAP is right here. It's gonna, you know, chat its way upwards as well. So monthly VWAP, if we want to take previous week's low, then the yearly value area high comes into play, right? So let me TLDR this because I said a lot there. Monday's low, right? So if Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if we run around, if we come back and run this low, get a really good reaction, and get some longs puking into here, I think this is a really good trigger to take us back up. Ideally, target would be like weekly open and stuff, right? If we bleed out a little bit lower, right? If we're going to go underneath Monday's low a little bit deeper, there's a lot of confluence in this region. The shallower dip would be confluence of H4 100 and monthly VWAP right around previous week's low. If there's a wick deeper, it's going to be right at the yearly value area high. So if we go back out, zoom out, this is our yearly value area high, yearly VWAP, yearly value area low. Right, so bunch of confluence in this region, psychological, 100K level. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, right? So these are the regions I'd be looking for on Bitcoin throughout this week. We could get bonked, so on low time frames, like if we come up to the daily 2 standard deviation value area high, that's right underneath the weekly open. So if we're just going to keep chatting into this location, look for longs to get a little bit horny up here. I don't like that a lot of this move today has been just open interest exploding. So we can move over to the kind of Sunday move argument, or the Sunday move conversation here. Is yesterday what I think occurred. So it's just mental conditioning. Markets are just about a bunch of pattern recognition and mental conditioning. Doesn't matter if you're trading EMAs or trading news or trading price action. You see a same pattern. You look at it. You try to find out if there's edge there, if you can repeat this again, if you could look for value when you get those signals. That's all trading is, right? And one of the metas that we've seen over the past month is like the Sailor post on Sundays, right? On Sunday, he comes out and he's like, there's an orange dot missing. Orange dot coming, right? And it's just basically telling you that he's about to announce a buy. And what the market has done with this is kind of gone, oh, Sailor's done buying, right? Sailor's done buying. We should close our positions here. And the market's done that several times throughout this push up, is just go, oh, okay, wait, Sailor's done buying. Let's close everything. Let's close everything, right? It's over, right? The spot TWAP's done. And all of those dips get bought up and get bought up and get bought up until that reaction started getting lesser and lesser and lesser. The sell-offs were getting worse off those like Sunday announcements. So the market actually took it the opposite direction fully and just didn't sell anything off and just used that as a bullish signal to absolutely moon us yesterday. Obviously, it's not a very comfortable picture when you have like 11, 12% open interest. And this is just Binance, by the way. I don't know what global was. But 12% open interest increase on Bitcoin on a Sunday into pretty much the all-time high is not the best recipe. Anytime you want to break above a big point of breakdown, so I have this highlighted, the all-time high point of breakdown, you want that to be spot supported, right? You don't want it to be 100% perp led. You want spot to come in and say, we're comfortable picking up sats here at 105K, 106K, right? And if perps go crazy on the back of spot support, it's not a big deal. But if it's just one-sided, right, if the seesaw is tilted one way, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. But it gave us a lot of clean triggers. And can go into like some of the trades I took yesterday. So the FARTCOIN trade I thought was phenomenal. Pretty much a 3-tap. So Mex, if you're in chat, yeah, this is the dude that has put the 3-tap on my chart over the past year. But just so clean. Of fumbling here. Low deviation under the low, taking out the highs that led to the low, right? Pull back into support and launch it back in towards equal highs. So we left equal highs back here. So this is a trade on FARTCOIN that I took yesterday with the Paragon boys, and basically just saying like, as long as 122 holds, like FARTCOIN looks phenomenal. So was able to capture this move. It's always a worrying sign though, whenever Bitcoin is making higher highs like this, and the altcoin, which in terms of, you know, the strongest altcoins in the market being FARTCOIN, right, that's been the leader of risk, is making a lower high and just running some highs. So we have the coins that I was eyeing, right, was number 1 FARTCOIN and number 2 SUI, right? SUI kind of did the exact same thing. It's just it left a bunch of highs in this location, right? Just infinite amount of highs right here, and came in and swept all that on our like Sunday move, right? So obviously going to be some place that you want to TP on those liquid weekends when everything is being perp driven. All right, that's a lot of rambling too. Let's go back to chat. What's the Paragon daily weekly made of? All right, that was a long-winded answer on how am I playing this market. Hopefully that answered everything top to bottom, left and right. Before we move on, I don't want to forget, I think Solana looks really good. I think I briefly talked about this earlier in the stream, but I mean, to me, this is one of those just like so obvious in hindsight, why didn't I bid here type of moments. I picked up some Solana myself. I've been a little bit under allocated on the spot side of things, so I'm just using this opportunity to get some spot bags. So I've taken the opportunity to buy some Solana spot here. I think the invalidations are super clean. Even if it drops down to low 150s, I still think it looks really clean on high time frame. So I've taken that opportunity to do that. As far as a trade goes, this is pretty damn clean as well, right? So stacked lows. 1, 2, 3 stacked lows, even right here, 4 stacked lows, running all of these, confluence, daily trend, weekly trend. If this reclaims in this location, this looks like a really clean deviation. I think you just, you know, if we blast up to 170 or anything like that, all these pullbacks are going to be buying with the idea that this was the deviation, right? So if we look at locally now, hourly trend in this location, confluence with the 4-hour 100. Right, multi-confluence resistance here. So breaking through this location, I think is going to look phenomenal. Something you want to see. Solana sold off really hard. If you look at like majors, ETH down 1% today, Bitcoin down 1%, Solana's down 5%. So there's a possibility that Solana does, like as long as things stay somewhat bullish for the rest of the day, Solana does a little bit of a catch up, right? And that catch up could give you that reclaim for the daily close. Can you take a look at hype? Yeah, I'll look at hype a little bit later. Why did all the former CT legends quit? Do you mean quit trading or quit like on CT, just not posting on CT? I don't think they've quit trading. I don't think you can quit trading. I've thought about it myself a few times. Is like, if I make enough money, am I going to just stop trading? And I don't think so, right? I think like I just won't be that active, and I'll pick my spots and maybe trade less, a lot less, in fact. So I think they're still trading, but why are they not active on CT? I think it's everyone goes through an arc, right? And that arc is first display a bunch of competence, right? Show people that you know what the fuck you're doing, or at least show people that you're improving at a fast pace. So you got, you know, something to offer, whether that's fundamental analysis or technical analysis or any type of edge in the market. As you start sharing it with people, they're going to want to converse with you, make friends, you start growing on CT. You trade publicly, you know, you get recognition, you get clout. You feel good about yourself. You're like, not only did I hit the trade, but people are, you know, saying nice things about me. It feels good. It gets old after a while. Once everyone comes to expect you to do well, right? Then it just becomes kind of cringe and old and whatever. So people stop caring about it. Then comes the arc where you're just so big that if you get something wrong, people demonize you. Like, look at, I'm going to take Owen, for example, right? I've known Owen since like basically the FTX bottom. In my mind, he's been one of the best market cycle traders since then, right? I think he nailed every pivot publicly, loudly. He's done very well. He doesn't do any cringe posting. He doesn't do any KOL stuff as far as I'm aware of. A really good dude, right? He blew up and everyone main charactered him for a bit. He got one thing wrong and I still see that meme on CT to this day, right? So it's like, why, like, what are you getting out of it, right? After a while, you're like, I've made the connections, I made friends, I've got group chats, I can discuss ideas. What the fuck do I need CT for, right? So I think along that way, people only go one or two ways. Either they go stop posting or they turn into shit posters. And like, if I'm going to stick around, I'm just going to have some fun. Like, fuck everybody. I don't really care about providing value. I'm just going to have some fun. So you see people go one of two ways. They either go shit poster or they just stop posting. I'll chart Hex for fun because you guys keep memeing about it. What insight can we gather about daily trends and 4-hour trends being tight together on alts? I don't think there's a blanket statement that I could give you there. All I could say is that 4-hour trend obviously is going to be the lower time frame trend. Dailies and weeklies are higher time frames. Look at it this way. Like, forget about trends. Think about market structure. If you're looking at the weekly chart and chart comes to weekly support, it's going to be a pretty nice area for you to want to execute, right? If there's also daily support overlapping weekly support, right, on multi-time frames, you're going to say, okay, that's pretty fucking solid. Think about trends the same way, right? It's overlapping kind of confluence. 4-hour downtrend here is just telling you that locally speaking, medium time frame, bears have been in control. There's nothing that market structure doesn't already tell you, right? You're making lower highs and lower lows. It doesn't take a genius to see this, right? Maybe whatever. You know what I'm saying? Lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, right? It doesn't take a genius to say that. The trend just kind of cleans it up for you a little bit. Curious, does your girl have a read on the market based on your behavior? No, not really, but my mom does, which is really interesting. My mom can tell all the time when I'm like happier or whatever, and she has called actual literal tops in the market twice this cycle based on like, you know, when I'm at dinner with my parents and I'm just having conversations with my dad. And she's just listening to those conversations and she goes, you guys should probably sell some. Yeah, you guys need to take some profits. Are you taking profits? And literally 2 times she was perfect. One was this November top or December top, and the other one was the March top. Both times she could tell that we were just a little bit too happy. What's your view on alts? Old time style, all time high break, then run? I'm not really making how do I want to say this? I don't really have like a very strict core plan of Bitcoin versus alts. What I will say though is it was a little natural to see this, you know, altcoin bleed out over the past week due to the fact that Bitcoin dominance hit the weekly trend. Right, so I mean, pretty much since the FTX lows, this one screwed a lot of people over, right? This one, even I wanted to be max fucking bullish. I was like, let's go. The trend that has been carrying us for 2 years is broken. Maybe we get an alt season. Psych, fuck you, higher, right? So dropping back into here obviously is an opportunity for altcoins to sell off pretty hard. If we're looking at altcoins in a nutshell, we want to look at Total 3, which is at overlapping daily and weekly trend support. Right? Maybe weekly is just a little bit lower, but it's at daily trend support. In fact, this pretty much looks like Solana, does it not? It looks like the same kind of pullback Solana's having. The daily trend's been very clean. Check out the way down, support on the way up. We're tagging this region again, right? So opportunity here. As long as Bitcoin behaves, this is altcoin opportunity. Doc stream is the best stream. I appreciate you, man. Ninja, he was one of the first stream watchers, dude. Like, look, if you guys go back to like my 2023 streams when there was like 5 people on here, I remember saying something one stream and I was like, hey, leave me a comment just so I know you guys like watch the full video and I'll give you a shout out. Like, that's how small the stream was back then. Hope you're doing well, bro. Sailor and other institutional buying strategies. I'm assuming most or all Bitcoin buys by institutions are OTC. Is there ever a point they have to buy spot, or I'm off base here? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to LARP and tell you I know how they execute. I really don't. And I don't pay attention to it. So it's not something that I've like studied or care to understand too deeply. So I don't exactly know the pinpoint accurate way that they're executing for large buys. So I don't really want to comment on that too much, man. It's not really core to how I trade. So my philosophy in markets is like whatever's in my control, whatever I understand, whatever is consistently repeatable, I want to continue sharpening that edge and make that better and better and better. And every kind of point that I add after that is just adding more complexity, right? Which is why you always hear me saying like, I don't give a fuck about macro. I don't want to hear about macro. I don't want to know about macro. I don't care, right? Because it's not something that I can understand and trade off of. So it's just a waste of time for me. Are we comfy with one entity holding this much Bitcoin? Man, you're going to get mixed emotions no matter, you know, who you asked for this. I don't think anyone is that comfortable. The best thing that we could do here is launch Bitcoin to 200K so it becomes more and more and more expensive for him to buy. So his buys, even if he's still buying a billion, gets him less of the supply. I personally am not, but I also don't have like a very drawn out like FUD case for it. I don't understand MicroStrategy that well. To me, it seems like a Ponzi scheme. To me, it seems like a big point of failure in Bitcoin, but I don't want to just, propagate, whatever. I don't want to chat shit. I don't understand it that well. But yeah, just my gut tells me I'm not really happy with Sailor owning that much Bitcoin. Isn't Sol and Sui putting in lower lows and lower highs? Yeah, it depends on the time frame that you're looking at, right? So if we're looking at 4 hour, it is. If you're looking at the daily, it's not. So if we look at like the daily time frame, you just look at these like big swing points, right? Daily bullish market structure. If you're looking at 4 hour, yes, within this correction, it's putting in lower lows and lower highs. Sui is going to be pretty much the same thing, right? High, low, maybe another high. Hopefully another high. We want higher prices. What do you think about LaunchCoin on BWAP? I think that I fumbled by not just top blasting when I first saw it. that's my analysis. Let's see how this chart looks. I mean, holy shit! Like just holding the 4 hour for now. Lot of basing out here, potentially basing out here. I mean, I think it still looks okay, right? Still holding the 4 hour trend, still looks fine. Holding some of this valuation. If I'm correct, this is around $200 million market cap. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's around $200 million market cap, which is in the grand scheme of what crypto is pretty fucking cheap. Like we saw virtuals run to what, 5 billion? Like what did virtuals run to? Yeah, we saw it run to 5 billion in the right conditions. So like, why can't LaunchCoin do something similar, right? If you look in hindsight, like, yeah, I get the virtuals thing, but it's, it's whatever. Bro, I miss Owen. Is he all right? I'm sure he's better than all right, dude. Like, the thing that people don't understand, you get something wrong, it doesn't mean that you've blown up your entire fucking like existence in one trade. Everyone that's become something in the trading game has some type of risk management under their belt that they're using, right? Everyone's invalidations are going to look different. Everyone's systems are going to look different. Everyone's sizing is going to look different. But at the end of the day, people have ideas, and then they know I'm wrong on this thesis, right? This is the loss that I'm willing to take if I'm incorrect. So I'm sure he's more than fine, and I'm sure he's been trading this market, just like Hasaka, who people have bullied off of CT, just like other people who bullied off CT. I'm sure they're fucking killing it. They're just not doing it publicly anymore. Will you chart the meme coin trifecta and the meme zoofolio? What's the meme zoofolio? Is it still like Popcat, Whiff? What's another one? I don't know. Fucking Moodang? What do you think about LAUNCHCOIN or Blue? I did that. Mom's calling tops. Chalk it up to mother's intuition. They know you, dude. They know you. What's your take on CT chicks, Honey, Dentoshi, Senorita Ritika? Are they legit? I think all of them are legit. Yeah, 100%. I'm friends with all 4 of those people. Honey and I have like a funny past. I called her out like at the bottom in like 2023. She posted a chart. So this is really funny. This is some of lore for me. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm going to share something funny. We were down, I think here. I didn't have that many followers, by the way. I had like a couple thousand, right? I was a very small account on CT. I don't remember where we were. Somewhere in this junk, right? And on the same day, Honey posted a chart that was like Solana, and Solana was like at $20, and she was like $690 target, right? And she put like the RR tool right there, right? And then Zoran, who you guys all know, got main charactered. I didn't know who the fuck Zoran was. I didn't know who Honey was. I didn't know either of these accounts, like literally didn't know either of them. And Zoran did the same thing. He posted a link chart, and he posted $1,000 target with the RR tool. And both of these like posts were like 1,000 likes. And I screenshotted both of them, and I went, this is how you farm engagement on CT. Take notes, right? And my post blew up. That was my first like viral post on CT. And a bunch of people came into the comments and were just throwing shit at both of those people, and they didn't like it. And then like a bunch of people that were friends with either Zoran or Honey got mad at me. It was like a whole thing. And then I went to both of them at the times. I DM'd both of them, and I apologized. I was like, look, I'm not trying to, you know, cause shit. I just thought it was funny. I made a funny post, you know, hopefully you can bury it. And I didn't really talk to Honey after that, or Zoran after that. And then I posted, this is actually really good on her part. I posted somewhere, I don't even remember, in here or something like that, a chart of Solana to 400 or something like that, or I don't even know what I posted, something like that. And she screenshotted that interaction from 2023, and she's like, oh, now you're on my side, or something like that. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious. Well done. But yes, friends with Ritika. I think Honey's provably, you know, displayed a lot of great high time frame trades. Dentoshi trades a lot like me with EMAs. And yeah, Senorita's had a lot of really good public trades. How many total users are there on the channel? I don't know what that means. Can we get your ETH POV? Yeah, let's do ETH next. Let me get caught up with chat, and then I'll do ETH after this. There seems to be a nice little trend of MicroStrategy copycats, American Bitcoin, etc. Watch out for those. Why does Sol look good even if it goes to 150? Isn't that back into the range? I'm using trends here. So in a trending market, I want to bet on trends. In high time frame bullish market structure, I want to bet on that market structure continue, right? So pullbacks are going to be for buying. In a trending, in a range-bound environment where you don't have trends, right? So a range-bound environment is you don't have trends. You're ping-ponging between two levels. If you break out and drop back in, you're likely going to revisit the lows, right? But let's say you're in a trend, but in this leg of the trend, you start establishing respect. You're in a range, but in this leg, you start establishing respect for a trend, right? And you get something like this, where you break out, you come back, and you retest it. You still can bet on the trend, right? You can still bet on the trend continuing. Trend loss can be your invalidation, right? So you don't have to psyop yourself out of a trade just because you have an arbitrary level here that other people may not care about, and you can bet on the trend. And trend loss can be your invalidation. Very simple. Trifecta is Whiff, Popcat, Pepe, Moodang, Peanut, Chill Guy. Yeah, everyone's got a different one. What is CT? How is that possible? Are we branching over to normie Twitter? Crypto Twitter, yeah. What is your biggest life pro tip outside of trading? If you have the ability to continue trying new things, because, and I mean for like careers, jobs, whatever, continue trying new things if you have the ability, because you may find something that you find super fun that can also make you money. Every single career and job in life is going to get routine, mundane, boring, going to cause burnout, going to make you hate your job, hate your life, whatever. Some people in this life are very lucky to do what they love for a living, and that's really rare. And I think that's rare because not that many people take the chance to try different things. They kind of fall into a routine, fall into whatever they've been doing for the past 5-10 years, and they never branch out because there's risk involved with that. So if you have the opportunity to, I'd say, explore some of those possibilities. Something you really like, I think it's worth trying to bet on yourself. Just like a trade, if you're wrong, you understand the risks involved, right? And you could live with yourself after the fact, even if you failed, because, you understood that you're taking a risk and it could fail, but it's okay. So I did that in my life, and I'm very thankful that I did that. It was a big risk, and I'm very thankful for that. So if you have the ability to do something like that, I would, that would be kind of a tip. What are the best ways you use to manage on-chain orders? Use BonkBot for limits and stops? Yeah, I don't do a lot of on-chain trading, but like I've teased it a little bit on CT. I really want to get involved in the trenches. I think there's just been infinite fucking opportunity this cycle in the trenches, and every time the market goes risk on, it doesn't matter how much the coins that I love and I'm exposed to at the bottom of ranges and they mark up 2, 3, 4x, right? It doesn't matter how many of those I nail. There's always something on chain that is going to massively outperform that, right? Like the whiff, right? The PEPE from 2023, the whiff trade, the FARTCOIN trade, right? The virtuals trade. There's so many of these that come in from the trenches, and I think being active there is really important, something that I've neglected this entire cycle. You just trade crypto? Yeah, just trade crypto. I mean, I trade stocks sometimes, but it's only going to be a few times a year, so I don't think it's even worth mentioning. Hey, Doc, you mind doing a quick thought process on how Bitcoin bounced since your outlook? Sorry, I missed the beginning of stream, literally in my finals for school. Okay, all right. I'll do it in a minute. I'm almost caught up with chat, so I got to do ETH, and I'll go back to Bitcoin. I think MicroStrategy going bust might be the event that ends the bull run. It could be. Are you saying that you didn't enjoy becoming a doctor? Yeah, I did it for the wrong reasons, I think. The Paragon trend's the same as this? Yeah, I just renamed them. Is about time. The clinic was a Discord with me and the homies. Like it was my open Discord on CT. It was like in the link in my bio and whatever, and thousands of people joined. And I made it, that was like branding or whatever. I just named my trends the clinic trends, but I've been with Paragon for over a year now. I think it was due time to just switch the name over. Do you use any order flow indicators? I use a lot of volume tools. I don't know if you would consider this strictly order flow, but I do watch relative volume, VWAPs. I use volume profile tools. I watch open interest. I've started adding order book heat maps a little bit to my trading. What I like to do is do 3 months of testing, forward testing, not back testing, anytime I want to add something to my system. So I'll test it for 3 months. So this quarter, Q2 has been about testing order book heat maps, and so far with the data I've collected, no significant improvement in the trading whatsoever. Like surprising, but like that's been my what do you call it? That's my base case for like so many things throughout my career. Is like I get very interested in something, I start testing it, and then I notice no significant improvement in my trading after 3 months, and then I say I'm just gonna not look at it. Like it doesn't matter if it's not making me better or making me take better trades. I don't care about it. Yo, Mercury, what's up, bro? I don't know if I've ever seen you in a public stream. We got to get you back on stream one day. For those of you guys don't know, Mercury and I used to do a lot of duo streams, do a lot of duo public streams. We haven't done one in a very fucking long time, dude. I got to get back on here, chat about markets and stuff, and catch up. But I appreciate the love. All right, can you check ORDI? Let me stop there. Let's do Bitcoin. Let's do ETH. Actually, let's do ETH first because someone asked about this. So ETH, I had 2 levels marked out going into this week. One was obviously this red line that we have right here, which is the swing low before the high, right? So this is our swing low. I actually took a really good trade off of this last week. You guys maybe seen the clip that Lear put up that I retweeted, but I took a really good trade off of this last week. ETH is also, so we've talked about the Bitcoin February composite value that became a really sticky point for Bitcoin. We got through, and look at the kind of extension that we got once we broke through this region. ETH is at the similar situation, right? So ETH is trading or getting rejected by the February composite value area. Now, trading back down, running last week's low, right? This is last week's low. We ran it, Sunday going into Monday. We're front running the daily trend. I would have really, really liked a little bit lower of a push on ETH. This is in fact something I was looking for yesterday as we were puking. Literally at the bottom of this wick, I was like, I want to long ETH right here at 2270. Obviously, sometimes when trades and levels are very obvious to the whole market out there, those consensus targets get front run because a lot of people want to bid and liquidity gets stacked in a location. So I didn't get that bid. The backup plan was reclaiming daily 200 and reclaiming 2700. So we've done that this morning. So now the analysis on ETH is very, very fucking simple. It's just look to bid pullbacks. So if I get pullbacks into the low 2400s, that's going to be a long that I want to take. The recovery's been phenomenal. I think the recovery's been better today simply because ETH sold off harder than everything else on Sunday. So the ETH sell-off was absolutely brutal. And the fact that it did most of the sell-off in one push, a lot of other coins in the market did like a double. ETH kind of just all did it in once and set up a higher low. So I'm a fan of how this looks. I really like the way this looks. Pullback should be for buying. Target should be the swing high last week's high. Okay, let's go to Bitcoin. There's Solana. That should be, let me check real quick. I left an alert here. Hopefully that isn't breaking your guys' eardrums. All right. Yeah, this is the alert that I have for Solana. So we'll get back to Bitcoin in a minute. Solana trading above the daily VWAP after rounding off at the lows. You guys can see that I have a bunch of low time frame levels marked in here. So it's really nice to see that support is supporting on low time frames. I didn't really love the way that this was looking on high time frames, just kind of sitting in no man's land. If you guys can take a clean look. So the high time frame plans for me was reclaim, right? Reclaim daily trend, reclaim these prior lows from last week. And we can leave this as a deviation and run to new highs, right? So that was the kind of alert that you guys just heard go off here. I want to see this reclaim. On low time frames, completely different story. You can definitely trade this on low time frames, which is something that I've done this morning, is long Solana. So I'm going to be looking for 2 standard deviation value area high on this morning's trade. And then Bitcoin. So what has changed since the outlook this morning? So when I did the outlook this morning for Paragon, we were trading down here. I said there's clean triggers to be had a little bit lower, just like I said on ETH. We talked about this at the top of the stream, so I'm not going to go into depth because I did like 10 minutes on Bitcoin to start off the stream. The dip buy a little bit lower is going to be the 4-hourly 100, confluent with the monthly VWAP, confluent with last week's low. If this breaks down, we've left equal lows. This is Monday's low now. We're pushing up back above this value. I don't think this is going to matter too much, this developing value area. The levels that I really like for Bitcoin this week is going to be the weekly open. So we opened up on like a fucking just, bloodbath. Accepting above the weekly open with a spot bid, I think that's the condition. It's just going to take you to all-time high, right? Spot bid above 106, which is the weekly open, we're probably going to all-time highs. Push up into the weekly open, I would assume rejection. If we do get a sweep of Monday's low at some point this week, it's going to have a lot of confluence. And a sweep of Monday's low, I think, is going to give you the opportunity to go towards all-time highs. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Probably obvious question. Is BonkBot associated with the meme coin? Do they do buybacks? No, I don't think BonkBot is associated with the meme coin. How do you manage risk for a perp account? My perp account risk has changed a lot over the years depending on the total capital that is invested in the perp account. So earlier in my trading days, my perp account as a ratio to my total capital was a lot larger, right? So my perp accounts would be like 20% total capital or something like that, right? A lot larger. Nowadays, they're much, much, much smaller compared to total capital. As the total capital increases, I'm not comfortable just sending fucking massive size perp trades every day for intraday and scalping like that. So my perp accounts are just enough money for me to manage my risk on a day-to-day basis, right? I just need enough margin available to get into trades on a day-to-day basis with the size that I want to trade. So I don't look at perp accounts and say 1R, 2R, 3R, 4R, whatever. My total risk ends up being like half the perp account, right? Or something like that. I kind of just look at the entire perp account as like 1R. And that's not to say that I still have never blown up a perp account, not like touch wood. I don't think there's any glory in this kind of thing that people have, you know, glorified on CT, getting liquidated and running it to zero and stuff like that. I've chopped myself up to pieces over the years in accounts, but I've never just fully fucking dumped and nuked an account. In general, what's your definition of trend loss? Basically closing under the trends with broken market structure, to keep it as simple as possible. Is the clinic still open? Used to be in it, suddenly one day disappeared from my Discord, never found an announcement or anything. Yeah, it's probably because you weren't active for over 6 months. I pruned a shitload of people. There was, at the peak, I think the clinic had like 2,800 people in it. I think there's only 200 or 300 people in it, and those are the people that are actively chatting. So people that use the clinic as like a signal service, like they could just chill in there, see other people trading, copy trade them. Nah, we're not about that, right? The people that are in there are the ones that have been grinding with me since the 2022 bear market lows, right? They've been displaying competence and working hard, and some of them are giga chads and some of them are still learning and growing, but they're putting in a lot of work every day, and I think those are the people that deserve to be in there. Doc, you still on the thesis of Bitcoin visiting range low 78K. So I've never had that as a thesis of visiting range low 78K. The one high time frame thesis that I've proposed several times has been tagging this like weekly demand, weekly breaker. Let me get rid of some of this crap. This is the region highlighted. So if we're going to get a pullback, this would be the region. This is like the ultimate buy the dip region on high time frames if we're going to get a pullback. I don't know why that's there. This is the confluent region. Like, let's say there's a situation we're rejecting from range highs, right? This is a rejection. We come all the way back down. Anything into from, I'd say, 87 or 88K down to like 85K, this is going to be for buying for me. This is a flat open weekly candle within that demand or breaker, however you want to draw this box, right? It doesn't really fucking matter in my opinion. Whether you want to draw it as demand or want to draw it as a breaker, who cares? The point being is pullbacks on high time frames on the weekly chart into underneath pretty much 89K, Confluence weekly trend, flat bottom weekly open candle, right? This is the region where you're going to want to buy the dip. I don't think these lows get tested, right? This is pretty obvious for me why these lows don't get tested. Like, they're only going to get tested, in my opinion, if we just go bear market and the S&P rolls over and the S&P goes bear market, because the resilience that we showed here is not for nothing, right? It's very notable. I've never seen Bitcoin hold up that well in the history, I think, of this asset. I think this is the most relative strength it's ever shown. It's done that in the past several times, but nothing like this, right? Extreme macro FUD. It was already hanging out at 80K before that tariff, whatever, reciprocal tariff news day hit. We were already down here, right? And that was the S&P 500 selling off 22%. So I don't think, basically since we broke out from this region, this was the retest that I was looking for. This is the retest that I've tweeted and talked about. 88K would be the one. That would be the pullback region for me. Can we get your indicators? You don't need to pay for these. Like, they're just EMAs, guys. Just type in EMA, multiple EMA SMA. Type this in and you can get, just type in the values. And someone help me out if she doesn't know the values. Joanna doesn't know the values. Yeah, the Clinic and Paragon trends are the same ones. I just renamed them. Trader Magus to see you lurking, Cree. What up, Lucifer? You guys don't need to type in the same chat like 5 times. I read everything. Can you pull up the SOLETH chart? Yeah. Good shout, actually. So we've been in this situation a couple times this cycle. In fact, at this moment in June, I really thought Solana was going to break down. Solana was right here or right here. We're trading and crabbing and starting to hold a little bit under the weekly trend like early in the week, right? And ETH was breaking down. I really thought this was going to be a moment where ETH may take over the reins. This was also, I think, on the repricing of the odds of the Ethereum ETF, you know, very bullish on, okay, ETH flows may be very bullish. We've had a couple of these shakeouts. This trend is not the cleanest, right? Maybe this trend is a little bit cleaner. Either way, it's not super clean. We've traded below this, you know, numerous times. The market structure is still intact on like super high time frames. Still, you know, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. It's going to be hard to bet against Solana in this point. I think it will happen eventually. At some point, this trend is going to break. All trends break, right? There's no trend that just doesn't break. All trends are made to be broken. But, you know, here's ETHBTC, right? Trading all the way back down to the Pico lows from 2019. Once again, bonking our head into the weekly trend, right? We've had some, you know, deviations, but pretty decent trend per trail from the top. Again, not super clean. Rarely are my trends ever clean on the pair charts, right? And I think that's pretty obvious, and not many people trade pairs, but still good representation. I think when we break the weekly trend here on ETHBTC, it's going to get a really good rally, and that rally will obviously break down SOLETH. That'll be a moment for the first time in like 2 years where ETH leads the market. We're not there yet. As far as I'm concerned, there's probably a bearish rejection. There's a different story on the daily chart, right? Daily chart, big daily downtrend, flipped, testing as support, right? So if there's going to be a weekly trend break, it might come from here. How did you develop your scalping strategy? Trial and error, and built it off the back of Magus's intraday order flow education. So he's got a bunch of education. I rewatched his videos in February, March of last year, 2024, pretty much. I guess it's like March, April, pretty much when I thought the top was in on Bitcoin. I thought we're going to get a little crabby. I thought there's two things that I can do here. Either because I'm on a heater, just keep fucking sending trades. And the only one that I did was off these April lows. Pretty much stayed on the back seat for the rest of this. Did not trade much. But what I did do in the background this entire summer is focus on intraday trading. And it wasn't successful at first, obviously, and kept tinkering with different ideas and different tooling and stuff like that until I got to a base case of what I liked. I had multiple different setups that I was testing on the intraday trading. I found one where the data was just much better than the rest, right? I was trying to trade both momentum and reversion, and my reversion trading was just so much better than my momentum trading. So I stuck with reversion. But just to answer your question, like built off the back of someone else's education, as 99% of the things that I've done in markets have been, right? Whether I'm learning from Magus or Exo or Charlie or really anyone else in the market, Pierre, take their stuff, test it, make it my own, and, you know, find a way to get profitable by tinkering with it for an extended period of time. And then eventually it just morphs into my own discretionary approach on things that I'm doing versus what I've been taught, right? I find little nuances and edges just by trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And then I go, okay, this thing's working for me a lot better than what I originally thought. Let me stick with this and let me prune the stuff that's not working. Do you prefer EMA and VWAP? VWAP for intraday, VWAP for low time frame trading, intraday, mean reversion, EMA for high time frame. On high time frame, when I pull up VWAPs, for me they're just levels. Like I just look at them as like a level to use, right? Like a horizontal level, like an SR level. That's really how I look at VWAPs when I use them on high time frame. When I use them on low time frame, it's a little bit different. I mean, essentially it's kind of the same thing, but the idea that I have from here of like extending really far away from value, getting absorption at the lows, like that's not something that I'm ideally using on high time frame. I stick with just simple price action EMAs on high time frame mostly. SOLBTC looks permacooked. You're not lying, dude. This is like weekly rejection. I was looking at this over the weekend. Like this doesn't look good, dude. It's hold up. Like just such unbelievable respect for the weekly trend throughout its lifespan. Losing these lows, and this could be the kiss of death. We just don't want it to be, right? I want to root for the bullish thing. I would really just want to see this reclaim eventually, but for now, yeah, doesn't look great. Everything looks great against the Bitcoin pair, or everything looks wrecked against the Bitcoin pair. I mean, it's because of this, right? Where is it? Why am I blind? It's because of this. Grass has been strong recently. Good shout. I'll look at grass in a minute. TLDR on grass. I'm just waiting for listing anchored to be flipped. When it's flipped, I think there's a really solid opportunity to trade really, really high. Clear obscure game of the year contender. I'll tell you this, man. I haven't been that like into a game story since I was like a kid. You know, when you're like a kid, you like, you know, game stories can be like this magical world that you live in. And you're taken back by, you know, for some people it's books, some people it's shows, movies, whatever. Some people it's video games. I never thought that I was going to get that feeling again with the video games. Like, I'm an adult, right? But like, that was a story that I got really into. The gameplay's great. The scenery's great. The music's great. I've been using like the soundtrack sometimes for some of my Paragon streams. I think it's more than a game of the year contender, man. I think it's like, I'm not a huge gamer, so I don't have the right to say this, right? Like, I've never played Elden Ring, so like my opinion doesn't fucking matter. But like, I would say it's one of the greatest games ever. Like, that's how I look at it. It's one of my favorite games ever. Can you look at Trump? It looks like it wants to send to 20. You better understand that if Bitcoin gets bullish, you know fucking Donald Trump is going to start tweeting about his meme coin, and this thing is probably going to send. All right, if Bitcoin goes into price discovery, just expect the president of the United States to start tweeting about the Trump coin again. I mean, holding daily trends, it looks okay. Like, I don't know about it wanting to send imminently, but shit coins like this trade more on just like tweets. Like, if Trump tweets something, it'll send, you know? I think this candle, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was off a tweet too, right? This was off a Trump tweet. So the main driver of this coin is going to be Trump tweets. FARTCOIN, sure. I'm surprised I haven't talked about FARTCOIN yet. Let me get caught up with chat before I go this. What did you mean exactly when you said you're coming into the trenches pump run releases? I think my goal with being in the trenches, just be more active and being more willing to participate in lower cap coins instead of brushing everything off, right? So my natural instinct when I hear something that's low cap, I just go, yeah, fuck this shit or I'm going to lose money on it. Like, I don't have no edge there. But there was once upon a time in my trading that I thought it's going to be impossible for me to trade 1 minute charts. I'm like, I can't do that. That's not me. I don't have the temperament for that. I can't make decisions that fast. You know, I can't scalp 1 minute charts. I thought that, right? And I was wrong, right? I tried it. I had some success. I had some failure. It took me a while. I got it eventually. I think I want to have that same mentality for trading low caps, right? And it doesn't have to be sniping launches. It doesn't have to be catching the runner at $100 million market cap, but just being more involved. And I know it's a completely different game. It's all about like social and you know, understanding what coins are bundled and stuff like that. Like there's a whole different nuance to trading low caps and on chain that I don't know anything about, but I'm very interested in wanting to learn. So if I get a moment to like learn, I have a lot of friends that are really good at it, like really good at trading low caps. And I think they'd be willing to teach me if I asked. Do you prefer setting limit order? They both have their own time and place. I don't think I have a preference of one over the other. I think I market order a lot more than I limit order. When I trade intraday, I'm not limit ordering. I market blast. When I want an entry, I just take it. Yes, I pay more in fees. I don't fucking care. Limit orders have their time and place, though. Only thing that did it for me was God of War. Yeah, God of War 1 I loved. God of War 2 I didn't like as much. You have to play Horizon Zero Dawn. I've heard of it. Oh, Hype. Yeah, somebody asked about Hype a long time ago. I apologize, I've been taking so long. Hype looks great, man. Every time I think it's going to break down and give us like a daily trend test, it just chads its way back up. This thing has been extremely resilient. Just recognize that you have run a bunch of these highs from this prior range, right? So this choppy crap, we have taken up these highs. I think you can make that argument for almost every coin in the market that it's at some significant high time frame resistance, just like Bitcoin is at very significant high time frame resistance, being all-time high. So it's just kind of like, if Daddy Bitcoin starts breaking out and going to price discovery, all these resistance levels on our coins don't matter, right? Simple as that. I don't think hype trades super clean. I also don't trade hype. I have a little bit in the past. I don't actively trade hype. I don't trade on Hyperliquid, probably fumbling there the next airdrop or whatever, but I don't trade this coin that much. Doc, remember trading the OG Trump coin? Yeah, the Mexi shitter. What was it called? MAGA? Yeah, you crushed that, dude. I think I had a break-even trade after like months on this one, I think, or something. Oh my god, is this the one? It's either this one or there was another Trump coin that was called like MAGA. This one? I don't know. Yeah, this is the OG Trump coin. I'm pretty sure like Magus DM'd me once and he's like, dude, I just took a really retarded bet. I'm just buying the Trump coin because I think maybe he'll like increase his odds of being the president or something like that. He absolutely nailed this trade. I just watched that and I'm like, he handed it to me on a silver platter. I didn't take it. Here's my gift to the chat. WIF team will be launching a new coin in the next 2 weeks. Watch the WIF deployed address. All right, everyone, take that. Take notes, and if you make money on it, come back and say DocStream is the best because you got that alpha on DocStream. Thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing that. Did you ever play old JRPGs? No, I played Kingdom Hearts as a kid, which is as close as I'm going to get to Final Fantasy. But I feel like looking back now, I think I would have really enjoyed Final Fantasy. Is one of those amazing low cap traders Charlie? Charlie has been known to hit multiple 100Xs throughout his lifetime. I think Charlie has nailed so many 100Xs. And I actually came to him... So when I was a student at Paragon, I remember asking him distinctly like how to manage my PEPE position, because that was the first time that I'd ever caught something that it ran like multiples. I caught PEPE at like $100 million market cap or something, and it ran to like 1.4 billion in like a week or something like that. And I remember being like, how do you manage this? And he gave me his advice on how he like takes profits and manages risks for those crazy runners. But yeah, I have more friends. Like I have friends that specifically only trade on-chain. Charlie trades perps like a madman, right? So he's not just only on-chain. Still like GOONC. I still have my bag. I think this thing went to 0 probably. It looks okay. I'm underwater on this. I think I have like a 40 average entry. I bought some... I don't know, like 48 or something like that, and some at like 32. This chart is not that clean. The deck screener chart's a lot cleaner, but my average entry is like at 40. This thing's at 24, so obviously I'm deep underwater on this. But my risk, anytime I buy low caps, my mentality is always like I'm buying with my invalidation that the coin goes to 0, so I size my risk appropriately. So if this coin goes to 0, for me it's just like another whatever. It's just an L. I'm not sizing into these with like the max conviction. No love for PEPE. A lot of love for PEPE, actually. It's been so goddamn strong that it's not giving me entries on anything, dude. This thing just absolutely ripped. I honestly, like when we're at this point right here, I longed BONK because, let me go back, right? BONK, where was it? Was it here? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Like BONK was just looking so fucking clean. Daily demand, daily trend, crabbing perfect, right? And I grabbed BONK here and nailed this trade. But I mean, PEPE, like this deviation under and just God mode send. And the entries that I was looking for, so I was looking for this over the weekend. is daily trend and running this low. Literally front ran it by a wick. I didn't get any exposure to this. This pulled back. I'm again looking for the sweep of these equal lows into the daily trend. It's front running that. It hasn't given me an entry, but on a high time frame, if there's a god that wants to give me an entry, I will be buying a bag of PEPE basically from here to here. If it's given, and I don't know if it's gonna get given. It looks really good. But during today, mean reversion trading, do you do it with a huge size position? Because I assume there probably would only be 1% move, and you need a huge position like 6 figures for decent profit. Yeah, I mean, yes. Earlier on when I was like learning it, obviously I wasn't trading with huge size because, you know, I'm just getting comfortable with it. The more comfortable you get with something, the easier it is to size up, right? It's the same thing for any type of trading that I've done, whether it's trading hourly charts or 6-hour or 4-hour charts or whatever, 15-minute charts is always the same thing. Size smaller as you're learning, size bigger as you get comfortable and confident. Nowadays, yeah, it's just a normal trade size for me. Pot at 3.6, it sold to 17. Yeah, banger. Rare for you. Now I got to bring you back down to earth. Rare for Magus to be on chain, getting multiples. Remember the Trench Boys talking about not selling because it's destined to go to $100? Bro, that's every coin. Every coin is destined to go to X price. Every single coin. Are you going to cut AVA or your invalidation at 0? My AVA entry is at 3. And my bag is laughably small that I don't even consider it part of my spot portfolio. This is my entry. I bought some. I was coming back from Vegas, so I hung out with a bunch of homies from CT, people that I've known for multiple years. We went to Vegas and hung out, and like after the trip and in the group chat that we had for the trip, one of the guys was like, Ava looks phenomenal. I looked at the chart and he's like the fundamentals and was explaining this is one of those trencher boys that I was talking about. And I don't remember, I bought this right here. I bought like this right here, 38. So this is my entry, and yeah, exactly. The invalidation that goes to 0. This is the location that I was looking for to compound, like to buy more. I just saw nothing forming in here, right? When you're getting bullied by 4-hour trends through the daily, there's no bid there for me, right? You should always use high time frame levels to break low time frame structure. So if you're trading market structure, right, and you have high time frame bullish market structure, meaning you're setting higher highs and higher lows. When you get this corrective leg, right, you're looking to break 4-hour bearish market structure, right? You're looking to break this lower highs and lower lows, make a higher high, get a market structure break, and trend per trail makes that really simple, right? But if you're just going to continue holding the 4-hour trend through all these levels, I don't really want to be a part of that. That's not something that I want to be a part of. This was the area that I was looking for picking up more, but just didn't give me that. What was the advice for those run style positions? I've been trading since I was 16, much older now, exclusively crypto, but I don't think I've figured out how to do Rogers winners. Well, I'll give you what so, you know, everyone's going to have their own take on it, but I've dealt with multiple runners now. So I'll tell you exactly how I do it. So in the past, so something like PEPE, I was taking profits incrementally. Let me see if I can find the original PEPE chart of the run up. I was taking profits incrementally. Like my entry was literally when it got listed on MEXC. This is the MEXC chart, right? So like right in here was my entry. And this thing ripped, what, 20x or something? 17x. And I only got a 7x out of this 17x. And it wasn't because I sold low or round tripped or anything. It was because my strategy was so stupid. And it was just like, oh, every time it goes up, I'm going to take a little bit of profit. I'm going to take a little bit of profit. I just kept scaling out the entire way up. That I had like nothing left on my position size, right? And that's where I went to Charlie, and I was like, you know, he gave me his advice, and he talked about taking initials out after a 5x or taking initials out after a 10x and stuff like that. That's the way that he trades them. And then through this summer, I did a little bit of on-chain stuff in summer 2023, stuff like Harry Potter, Sonic, Unibot, whatever. And I found that the best strategy for me was just sell on trend loss. So anything that takes me parabolic, right? Whatever trend is going parabolic, when that trend breaks, be it the 15-minute trend, the hourly trend, the 4-hour trend, whatever, sell on that trend loss when things get hyper extended and whatever, right? And I found that to be the best strategy. So I take 50 to 80, percent of the gains out anytime trend losses occur. And I'll do this in order to compound. So this is how I handled and managed PEPE last year in Q1, right? Similar situation. 4-hour trend carrying you, 4-hour trend breaks, bearish retest, pointer breakdown, market structure break, retracing the candle that broke you out of consolidation. Just multiple bearish confluent factors here. 50 to 80% out. For me, this is 75% out. Compounded the daily trend. If the daily trend is lost, you know that it's going to tag the weekly. Weekly trend losses is where you can look to reposition full size, right? So this is what we did. This is the banger trade that I've talked about so many times on the stream. This is like my high school quarterback trade right here. It was the 10x on PEPE compounding into another 3x. This was massive for me. Can you give us an example or run through your thought process intraday trading that you've taken? No, we save that for Paragon. You got to save some stuff. I give you guys as much as possible on the public stream, but some stuff I got to save, you know? What's the advice? Okay, yeah, we got that. Do whiff. Doesn't whiff look absolutely terrible, or am I wrong? Doesn't this look devastatingly terrible? Yeah. Why do we care about whiff? Like, I mean, if you want some, buy some. That's literally all I'm gonna say. Treat this like another like FARTCOIN has a higher market cap than whiff now, right? Or they're generally the same. This is 1 billion, this is 1.2 billion, is generally the same. Which one do you think is gonna perform better for the rest of the cycle? Do you think it's gonna be whiff, or do you think it's gonna be FARTCOIN? I personally think it'd be FARTCOIN. They're relatively the same valuation. If you're just gonna buy whiff, might as well just buy FARTCOIN. That's my like 2 IQ answer there. What about BONK? Oh, we've talked about BONK, no? BONK, I think, is a really good example. So if you're feeling like sidelined in a rally or something like that, let me go to this chart. It's marked up better. If you're feeling sidelined in a rally, look for coins that are retesting daily trends, right? I think that's just the easiest way to do it. This is something that I did at the beginning of May, right? So when we did this, right, I've talked about this numerous times with you guys. This was a very good de-risking point for me, right? This is a point where I'm like, I've nailed this move. I want to de-risk here. When we start trading back into this value and I'm like, okay, wait, I was wrong. This looks like it's going to trade higher. This time around, I'm looking for altcoins. And this is exactly what I did by buying a bunch of coins at the daily trend, SUI and BONK and virtuals and stuff like that. So this is a similar situation. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, and you want exposure to altcoins, you do so at the daily trend, right? Meta's already been established, daily trend's already been established, daily bullish market structure, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. This, your risk is defined. You don't really want to see this holding and breaking down and having daily closes below this. If it closes on a daily below and it reclaims, you view market structure break, you can always get back in, but your risk is defined on a high time frame basis when you have trends like this. Let's check out Solana. Nice reclaim. This is probably going to be the focal point of my trading for the rest of the week is Solana. When you buy daily 100, you often mention 200 is your invalidation. Do you have more than an order within the two so you're not eating 10 to 15% drawdown? So whenever I say these things, they're a generalization, right? When I say buy the daily trend, it's not just place an order at the top here. It's look for a setup in this location, right? This is a point of interest. It's basically a region where you want to be bullish or look for setups or look for a reason to be bullish. When price gets to those locations, you should have a setup in mind, whether it's I'm taking this as a price action setup. We're tagging demand. We're tagging trends. We've got a sweep. We've got high delta. We've got something going on at this location. I'm wrong based on the thesis that I'm developing. I'm building a setup in this location, right? The lazy thing that I tell you guys is just, hey, there's the daily trend. Daily trend loss can be your invalidation. But no, I don't just blindly trade with like, I'm bidding here and my invalidations here is my stop loss. I don't do stuff like that, no. But that's like the easiest way. It's just saying that this is a point of interest. You want to be bull biased when these locations get tagged, right? So similar here with Solana, right? I think last week, going into the weekend, I was basically saying, okay, I'm going to play some limits because I really want some spot. And I did buy some spot at like 166. And I want to buy more spot, right? And looking at it this morning, I'm basically saying, okay, reclaim here, I'm probably going to buy some spot, right? I want to look at this as a deviation. I don't want us to trade back below this once we get back above. And that's going to be the trade setup that I take to look to take us higher out of here, right? So I'm always looking for setups and locations, not just, yeah, let me blindly, kind of DCA the whole way down. I want to narrow down my risk and understand the setup that I'm taking within the context of the location that I'm trading at. Does that make sense? Can you look at ORDI? Sure. I think this is also going to look like trash. Man, how the mighty have fallen. This thing traded to $100 and is down at 9. My advice whenever I see coins like this is just focus on newer coins, dude. Like, let's use Bitcoin, right? Let's teach this using Bitcoin. The coins that dominated the meta here are not the same coins that dominated the meta here, are not the same coins that dominated the meta here. It's very rare to have the same coins every single markup. So if we're going to mark up again, right, if we're going to do another one of these, it's probably not going to be ORDI. It's probably not going to be Render. It's probably not going to be coins that are used to Aptos or whatever, right? There's always going to be something newer and shinier, or something with a narrative, or something that looks better on a high time frame, or something that has been trending up for the past couple months. Like Bitcoin's doing this, but the altcoin's doing that. Right? Those are the coins that are going to do phenomenally well. So try not to focus too much on stuff like ORDI, man. Like we could do trade setups on ORDI on like lower time frames, and I could give you the classic, if this trend is reclaimed, then do this. But I think the thing you should focus on is just better asset selection here. Isn't ORDI reclaiming the daily trend though? Yeah, I mean, it is. The first thing I looked at, or the first thing that I saw when I pulled up the chart, was that it is. But why not focus on a chart that looks better than that, right? Why not focus on a chart that's already reclaimed the weekly trend, or a chart that has been putting in an accumulation range, broke out, and is retesting, Why focus on one that's done this? I guess the idea that entices people to take something like this is, oh, it's gone down 90%, therefore the returns are going to be massive, right? But that's not always the case, right? Let's look at something like TIA, right? TIA went down like 90%. The next time Bitcoin went risk on, what did TIA do? Right? This rounded off, built some lows. I'm sure it traded off the daily. This is Bitcoin hitting 60K or something. This is Bitcoin hitting 100K. This is the unfortunate reality for tons of coins. Let me show you another one. This is a coin that I loved and traded a lot of, right? This is Render. This is 60K. This is 100K. Here's another one. INJ was main charactered for a long time. Here's 60K. Here's 100K, right? This is the unfortunate reality for tons and tons and tons and tons of coins in the market. We just kind of run through the narrative. The next time people get too emotionally attached to them and kind of do it again, which is why you've heard me say a couple times now, like, I don't know if Pepe is going to be that guy again, but the fact that the market ripped this one made me change my mind, right? I was like, I wonder if the thesis is kind of played out. It went to top 20. It was within 40% of the flippening. Maybe that's thesis completion on this guy here. But if the market's going to bid it like it's strong, maybe there's a high time frame pullback that I can get into, and I could look to trade it to new highs again. I'm an ape that looks for better RR. So don't confuse RR with EV, right? Something can have good RR, but have bad EV. What I mean by that is something can still give you a 3R trade, but less likelihood of actually playing out, because who the fuck is going to bid that coin, right? So don't confuse RR with EV. You want to take good EV bets, and in addition to your good RR trades. And by all means, like, don't, just because Doc is saying fuck ORDI doesn't mean that you shouldn't trade it. You should still follow your thesis, take your trade. If you're correct, come back to the stream and be like, Doc, you were wrong. I took this trade, and I'm going to, congratulate you for seeing your thesis out. And if you're wrong, you'll learn something. If you're right, you get all the clout and all the love. That's just the way that I've seen it. Through experience, Those are my words of experience. My thought process with Bitcoin with all-time high already will follow as beta. It could. What was the other one? Someone help me out. What's the other Bitcoin sex traded altcoin? Centralized traded. What is that coin called? The one that had the Nakamoto upgrade. I'm completely blanking on this coin's name. Whatever. Someone on chat will know what I'm talking about. So along the Sol 3 tap. Yes, sir. 4-hour trend break. Push up into this region. Either if we take out this high, or maybe we leave some equal highs. If there's a 3 tap, that is going to be a clean banger. STX, there you go. You guys all got it. All right. I wondered, does this look better than ORDI, or does this look like shit too? This kind of looks like shit too. Jesus. Did this wick to 0? What exchange did I pull up? It wicked to 0 on Binance Spot? What? I mean, this looks like ass too. I mean, if that's your thesis though, that you just want to bet on Bitcoin altcoins, these things kind of work out well, right? Like, just keep in mind, like even ORDI did this. This is ORDI to 60K, right? Just keep in mind, this is ORDI to 60K. This is ORDI at Bitcoin 100K, right? Even the Bitcoin shitcoin put in a lower high. So what's to stop it from, yeah, it pumps, but it also puts in a lower high. I came on the stream, appeal for my unblock. Unblock? Did I block you on Twitter? What did you do to piss me off? What'd you say? I don't block people often. I usually just mute them. So if you got blocked, either was number one, is either a mistake or you said something that pissed me off. Because 90% of the people get muted and they have no idea that they're muted. They're just talking into the wind in my replies. Doc, if ETH loses the order block that we're currently bouncing off of at 2284, where's the next point of interest? I see nothing except for the EMAs. What'd you say? 22... Where did I lose? I lost your comment. 2284. So basically the daily trend. I would expect the daily trend to hold, right? Somewhere in this location, I would expect it to hold, right? So if it trades below this wick, the deepest I could see it running is like 21.5. I'd expect this to hold if we came all the way back down into here. Damn, ETH is strong today. Damn, what the fuck happened to STX? Bro, the same thing that happens to every other coin, right? We just forget about them. And that's like the thing with crypto. There's so many coins to trade. We can't keep every single coin at the forefront of our minds. We just forget about them, right? There's hundreds of centralized traded coins that we were in love with that just fell apart. You guys remember FET? This thing was the Alpha Chad AI coin at the beginning of the AI cycle. Like this thing went to pretty much zero too. We're trading FET. I remember trading this in Q1 of 2023 and admittedly missing 90% of this rally. Like I was sidelined on all of this, but I caught a lot of good FET trades in Q1 of 2024 along with Render, right? This thing just, I mean, again, another example. Bitcoin 60K, Bitcoin 100K. Oh, you meant the wick. I forgot. That's probably what you're talking about. I feel scared to size into any trades, even Solana, that everything might dump if Bitcoin dumps as Bitcoin. What do you suggest? I mean, trading is going to come with losses. That's part of the game. You're not going to win every trade. My win rate's like 50%. That doesn't mean my P&L curve doesn't just go up and to the right, right? I take a lot of losses. I just want to make sure that I know when I'm incorrect and know where I'm incorrect before I even open the trade. And before I click long on something, I, number one, know where I'm wrong. And number two, I've already accepted the price of admission. The price of admission is that I'm wrong. So I mentally tell myself, oh, I could be wrong. And okay, I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with the size that I'm taking. I'm okay with the risk at play. Send the trade. I mean, that's part of the game, bro. We're all gonna lose a lot of fucking trades. The thing that matters most is that, you know, you're disciplined to take the trades that come onto your plate, right? The discipline to take the trades that you're prepared for and set up for. And the discipline to close the trades when you're wrong and not just hold the trade all the way down to zero because you're scared to take a small loss. I think there's a great tweet out there, a great quote that's like, all big losses start off as small losses that you're unwilling to close or something like that. And that's very, very true. The biggest losses people take are when they're unwilling to close for a small loss because they've been invalidated on their idea and they're like, oh, let me, you know, let me just hold this, right? One thing that I try to teach students, something I learned the hard way too, is don't make your stop loss someone else's trigger, right? Like if you have a trade and you don't know where to place your stop or you don't know where to place your invalidation because just below your stop and just below your invalidation is an even better trade, then the setup that you're looking at is probably not the best setup. Either you have to find a way to dial in that entry and be much, much narrower, or you have to widen it and look for a higher time frame. You definitely don't want to just, you know, stop yourself out right here when like right here is a better entry, you know, because you'll get into this mentality of like, oh, I'm not going to close because of this. And then that one doesn't work. I'm not going to close because of this. I'm not going to close because of this, right? You end up holding this shitter all the way down. ETH made everyone hate it and now it outperforms. Yeah, I think this is the best ETH rally that I've seen in years. Straight up. Like, I haven't seen ETH Chad like this in a long time. Like, this was a strong move, but I think this was the last one. This is the last, like, giga great ETH trade that I took. I got this. I got lucky on this one, to be honest. I didn't know that we were going to get this headline, but I was long ETH off of the signals from 4-hour trend, 4-hour trend, daily trend confluence. Like, I caught this long, but this is luck. Like, I had no fucking clue that this is gonna be announced that day. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. This is one of the strongest ETH rallies in a while. It's just so funny to see that the strongest ETH rally in a while, Bitcoin's at all-time highs and ETH is at 2,500. So put things in perspective a little bit. If all your spot is in a hardware wallet, isn't it tedious to act fast and cut something if there's a big dump cutting through trends? It's part of the game, man. You have to be prepared for those scenarios and just try to position in areas where, you know, I mean, anything can happen. Like, we could wake up tomorrow and everything could be down 50%. That's just the price of paying for the outsized returns that crypto can give you. It's part of the game, man. You can't, you know, but like typically before these big sell-offs that do go like down 50%, you're getting multiple signals that structure is bearish and stuff and whatever. When you're in a high time frame uptrend, usually those big wicks get bought up. Right? Like you get these big sell-offs, you have a lot of signals, a lot of triggers to tell you that this is bearish before those things happen. Then, you know, like if it happened today, if you longed ETH today and we wicked down fucking 30% or something like that, it's just coming into support. It's more likely that people will buy that capitulation. You'll get kind of a really good recovery. Whether that recovery goes to new highs or that recovery fails and has a lower high, you'll probably still get a really nice bounce out of it. But if you're in bearish market structure and you get one of these wicks, it's probably going to just roll over again. ETH eco's away. Check out CRV. CRV was one that I had marked out. I think it... Ooh. Interesting. Yeah, if this can round out here, push back up, I think it looks really good. I'll keep an eye on it. I was meaning to keep an eye on it, and they just looked so bad at support for the last couple days that I kind of just been ignoring it. I'm probably still going to ignore it until it reclaims. I'll put an alert here and see what's up. Thank you for bringing that back to my attention. Thoughts on Toshi? That's another example of a coin that I think just became irrelevant. Oh, no. Something happened with Toshi that made it go God mode, right? Yeah. I forgot about this. So I actually had Toshi in like summer 24 or even early 24, like Q1 24. And eventually ended up closing the position because it kind of just did nothing and missed all of this. Unbelievable. Had I held that would have been a big winner. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Not the worst. Not the best, not the worst. I think simply just set some alerts down here, right? If you get a pullback into this region, solid. Yeah, just I don't have much to say. It's not the cleanest thing ever, but yeah, just local range lows confluent with the daily trend moving up. Anything that you get around 65 could be really solid for trend continuation. On high time frame, I think this looks a lot better. So if you get pukes into like 56, I think that looks really good. You want to see like mid 50s hold. Seeing all these dead charts has me questioning this industry again. Just don't look at the dead charts, man. Keep your eyes on the good stuff. Everything is worthless in vapor. I mean, that's facts, right? But it's like the guy in the bus meme, right? There's a guy in the bus that's like sad and looking at the brick wall, and there's a guy in the bus that has like a big smile on his face and he's looking at the sun, right? And you could take both perspectives of this industry is dog shit in vaporware, or this industry is dog shit in vaporware, right? Either you can feel bad about it, or you can understand there's a lot of opportunity that's presented in this environment. And when this industry reaches full maturity and everything runs on fundamentals, and we only value fundamentals, and the speculation is gone, and we don't speculate on anything, you're not going to have those opportunities anymore. You're not going to have those outsized returns, those generational wealth opportunities, because things get pretty normalized, right? You're going to need tech and fundamentals to reprice something and value something in the real world. And maybe we don't want that just yet. Maybe that we want that one day. We just don't want that yet. Maker. Yeah, sorry. When you guys ask a lot of like altcoin tickers, that some just get lost. The bottoming structure doesn't look bad to me. I think Maker was one of my only big losses of 2024. I bought Maker. I forgot the exact entry, but I bought Maker before I went to Europe, and then we had the Japan yen nuke, and I didn't have my ledgers or anything with me. I could not stop this, so I couldn't like do anything about the Maker position until I got back to America. This ended up being a bigger loss than it needed to be. I mean, Maker doesn't look bad. Clean, bullish market structure, trading above the daily. I think trading above the weekly. Did I see that correctly? Trading above the daily, trading above the weekly. I mean, betting on the daily trend's not bad. A lot of stuff is testing the 4-hour downtrend right now. Like even Solana, I'm looking for Solana to break this 4-hour downtrend. That's where we're finding resistance right now on this. The flip side of that small losses turning the biggest is my biggest gains are the ones that I held on large drawdowns. I think that's gonna work on like maybe good stuff. I don't know. I mean, be very careful with that, bro. Like, one of the worst things. Yeah, I don't want to overspeak on this, but one of the worst things you could do is be right for the wrong reasons and have that be your foundation, right? So just keep that in mind. Make sure you're not, you know, because being right enforces this positive feedback loop of I did this and it worked, therefore I'm gonna do this again, right? So just keep that in mind, you know. Make sure you're right for kind of the right reasons. Yes, you can get lucky and make a fuck ton of money, but just acknowledge that maybe luck played into some of those or whatever. I'm not gonna tell you, you know, don't hold things down if it's consistently working for you. Maybe you got an edge there or something, but yeah, just be careful with that. Why is ETH so strong today? I think it's because it had a lot of its sell-off on Saturday or Sunday or whatever it was. I talked about this when I talked about ETH earlier, is a lot of coins put in like a small sell-off and then a bigger one like this. ETH just kind of turbo fucking nuked. This was one of the most brutal ones that I saw in majors yesterday. Right, 10% down pretty much in like 4 hours. So I think it's just the case of it put in the brunt of its correction like kind of in one candle. So the strength that you're seeing here, you know, could be a little bit of a false positive just because it sold off harder initially. Yeah, a lot of altcoin requests. If I don't get to yours, guys, I apologize. We're getting to the end of the stream anyways. Probably gonna wrap it up in the next 5-10 minutes. The thing is with my streams, I think, you know, if it's your first time here, the best thing you could do is try to learn how I analyze these things and then just apply that to your coins, right? I think there's gonna be more value in learning from how I look at things versus me just spoon feeding ABC on the coin that you're looking at, right? So even if I don't look at your coin, maybe take some of the analysis of the other coins that I looked at and be like, well, how would Doc look at this, right? I think there's gonna be a lot of value for your development if you do stuff like that. I grew my IRA from 30K to 200K with MicroStrategy and blew everything out back to 30K, buying 2x ETHA at ETH 4K. Yeah, there you go. All right, you gotta build in validations. Like buying range high is not a problem, right? As long as you understand where you're wrong quickly, just like anything else. Like buying range low, buying under a deviation, buying into a trend, buying into trend loss, like shorting the lows. Like it's all the same thing. Just, you know, even if you're positioning in a place where you wouldn't consider the highest expected value, just know when you're wrong. Like I was looking at the same thing for ETH. I remember, did you guys remember the thing I had on here? That was like 4K final boss. I had it drawn on my chart like this. I had the text and I was like final boss. And I was just waiting for that breakout. I closed all my shit in here. I was long ETH from the summers. That was actually the longest time I've ever held a perp trade in my life. I bought, I opened a ETH long in the summer, somewhere in September, and put in a sub account in the Woo account, didn't touch it, didn't look at it, and just, you know, TP'd into this rally. I TP'd some up here, some at the top, and I was like, okay, once we break, let's go again. Why do we get this dispersion? It's too many coins, man. It's too many coins. On the 4-hour trends on ETH around May 9th, 10, how did you choose which one for the daily trend? ETH May 9th, 10th. So in here? I honestly don't think I took any trades on ETH this day. If I did, it was intraday, but I don't think I took any trades on ETH this day. Did you chart Hex yet? All right, let's fucking do Hex, you plebs. What is the Hex ticker? Is it Pulse Chain? Wait. It popped up there for a second. Oh my god. It's been in an uptrend since the Japan nuke. Wait. This isn't the full history. Did they do the bullshit where they like fucking changed the name of the coin in December to make it a clean chart? I think they must have done that, huh? They must have made a new ticker. What do you think of major alts making lower highs locally compared to Bitcoin doing the higher high? Yeah, I think there is something there. So if you look at something like FARTCOIN, I talked about this morning with the group, is there's a little bit of momentum loss on this thing. Yes, the trend is still intact. Yes, market structure is still intact, but there's a little bit of momentum loss rearing its head on something like a FARTCOIN. Every single markup that we've had, built out a range, markup, right? Don't really drop back into this range. Build out a range, markup. Don't drop back into this range. Build out a range, markup. We're starting to drop and teeter lower and lower. Like these expansions are getting a little bit weaker, right? These drives are getting weaker. These drives are getting weaker. The pullbacks are getting deeper back into prior consolidation. So there's a little bit of momentum loss there on some of the coins. I think what you're kind of talking about with the lower high on altcoins, a lot of that is due to this Bitcoin dominance symbol argument where Bitcoin dominance retraced back into the weekly trend. This has been the trend that's carried us pretty much since FTX. We talked about the shakeout, right? That baited a lot of us, myself included. But as Bitcoin dominance retraces all the way into this thing, your market's going to be led by Bitcoin again. And ultimately that's what you want, right? When you're at a big decision point like this in the market, this is a big fucking decision point for the market. This is all-time high break, right? If Bitcoin is going to do this, we want Bitcoin to lead. We want Bitcoin to be the first guy out of the gates. We want Bitcoin to set the path for the altcoins. So people are naturally going to be a little bit risk adverse, take the back foot, take their foot off the gas on alts, and just wait for Bitcoin to give us a signal. If Bitcoin's going to break out and put a god candle through these levels, altcoins are going to follow. So I think it's a little bit natural, the combination of those two things. Doc, you compound BONK and cut below entry. I took one trade on BONK at the start of the month, and then I moved that positioning into FARTCOIN. So I took this trade on BONK and then cut this and put it into FARTCOIN. Once stock finishes stream, everyone has sent Bitcoin to new highs. Were we bullish off the stream or bearish? I'm curious. Started the stream at 12. Kind of bullish. Max fitting X. Don't forget to press the like button. Yeah, I appreciate you guys if you hit the like. It'll help the stream grow. I don't do, I really want to. Let's close the stream up with this. Would you guys think less of the stream if I started doing really cringe thumbnails? Like the one that I like joked about on CT earlier. Like if I did like open mouth doc anime with Bitcoin all-time high imminent exclamation marks and just really cringe clickbaity thumbnails to draw in more viewers. Are you guys going to stop watching the stream? Even though the stream content's going to stay the exact same, but if I change like the title and the thumbnails? Because I've said this many times, I do want to grow the stream. I would like the stream to get bigger. I'd like to branch out somehow from the kind of normal CT audience that I get into the normie Twitter audience, because there's such big YouTubers on the normie side of things, like people that don't have time. So I do this too, right? Like I do this with other things. When I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to espresso machines. I don't Google espresso machines. I go to YouTube and watch a video. Like, someone explain to me, how do I dial in my shots? How do I get the crema to come out of the espresso? Or anything else in life. I go to YouTube and I find a video and I watch the video. People who don't understand crypto, they do the exact same thing. They type in how to buy Bitcoin on YouTube or Bitcoin price prediction on YouTube, right? And then they find people who are already super established. They already have 100,000 followers and subscribers or whatever, and they watch their videos. So obviously my stuff's never going to catch in there. The only way the algo is going to help me out is, one, if you guys keep like running up the likes on my streams, right? If the likes like exceed and they get into this category that like the algo goes, hey, this, you know, a lot of people seem to really enjoy the stream. Maybe I should push it to other people's like algorithms. That'd be number one. Or number two is go the clickbait route, right? Where if someone stumbles across it, they're like, oh, what is this? This looks like something that I watch normally, right? We bait them in with the thumbnail, and then they watch the stream and they go, oh, this is so much better than what I'm normally watching. The old, you know. No open strategy, but you need no open mouth, but you need this strategy to make money works. Yeah, like baity titles, right? Don't do it. Don't do it. split audience right here. Some people saying I don't mind. Some people saying yeah. I mean, I don't know if I want to do it. I probably won't do it because I really like the thumbnails that Wusong makes. He puts in a lot of effort in them. He finds really cool videos. Or pictures. He photoshops my head on it. I think the thumbnails he makes are fucking awesome. I really like them. I think they set, you know, my stuff apart. And I think, you know, it's noticeable. Like you'll be like, oh yeah, that's Doc's stream. Like you guys know right away. You see my little cartoon head. So I don't really want to go away from that, to be honest. But I don't think it brings anyone in. I don't think anyone sees that thumbnail or sees my titles and go, oh, this is something I've never watched before. Let me go check this out. I'm going to help push the stream only if you unblock me. All right, type your Twitter in chat. I'll unblock you. If you feel cringe, it would be inauthentic. Yeah, I mean, I teeter with things. I do cringe things on Twitter sometimes too. And in the moment, it feels okay. And then I look back on it a month later and I was like, that's cringe. I shouldn't fucking do that anymore. Running 2K to 2M will get the normies. I did that when, what's his name was on here? Nexus was on as a guest. And I did how to run 2K to 10 mil or something like that as the stream title. Because I think that was his run up this cycle. Dip Wheeler strategy. Oh, dude, imagine would I get flagged on YouTube if I did that? Just put fucking hot girls in the thumbnails, dude. That's what I need to do. That's what I need to do is just put fucking babes in the title or in the thumbnail. The Dip Wheeler strat, dude. Yeah. Can you do Giga? Someone asked. Yeah, you're right. Someone asked a few times. I'll do Giga before we leave. All right, what I will say about Giga, that's not to do with the chart, is I think this coin literally went to zero. Like, so they had something with the liquidity pool or something like that, and these guys, like the name of the coin, they Giga chatted it right back up to all-time highs. I don't know if it's on this chart or where it was, but I remember hearing about that or seeing that or something. This is just clean bullish market structure, right? So this is a little bit of an accumulation range. This is clean bullish market structure, making higher highs and higher lows. You know, you're just kind of betting on the structure at this point. I think the best thing to do if you like this coin is just buy a little bit of spot. You know, it's reached a bottom. It's put in sideways, right? You're not buying much high off the lows. I know it's going to feel bad. And you're like, it's up 2x off the lows. I can't buy some. Well, you don't have to full stack your entry day one. Also branded Doc alt season. That'll do it. Big booba thumbnails. Bitcoin will bounce here title. Dude, should I do that? Should I try that next week? If it fails, at least it'll be an inside joke for the people that watch the stream this week. I'll what do you call it? I'll tell Wusong to put a girl on the fucking thumbnail. Should we mix it up? Just put my head on a fucking supermodel body. That'll make it a mix of retarded and bait. Your head is already on a supermodel body. Not anymore, dude. I need to really focus up on the gym, dude. I've been slacking. It's been a goal for me this year, actually. Like I that's like the one thing this year that I have that I'm not what do you call it, sticking to, is the gym work ethic. That's the one thing I'm slacking on. I'm taking too many vacations and trips and having fun and enjoying with the homies. There's always time for the gym. That's just, it's not an excuse. I could be working harder there. I am down a bunch of weight that I put on over the past like year or two. I look better. I'm stronger. Been working out, but it could, the progress could be moving faster. That's all I'm trying to say. The progress could be moving a lot faster there. Dex screen or shitcoin stream. I can do like main and have like a smaller stream once a week for like 30-40 minutes and just do shitcoins. I think he did that, right? Main shitcoin summer, where he only looked at shitcoins. Can you tell us why you quit the doctor path? Where's the homie that comes into my stream that calls me a failed physician every week? Is he around? Should I do the doctor story again for that boy? Nah, I mean, it's just, I'd finished everything and I just wasn't as in love with it. I wasn't thinking about, man, I can't wait to be a doctor for 30 years. And the one of the things that turned me off was when I was doing my internship, right? When you're doing your internship, when you're in your final years and you're doing clinicals and stuff, you get a lot of time in specific wards. So when I was doing my internship and I had, you know, all the rotations, every physician that I was working under was dealing with some sort of burnout, right? And it's natural. You're seeing the same 5 to 10 patients again and again and again for 30 years. And every patient's going to want to come in and tell you their story about how, you know, they want to feel like, you want to feel good. You want to feel heard, right? And it's natural. Like you're in pain. You're not feeling good. You come to the doctor's office, you tell them, but they've seen this 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, right? So they're not going to listen to you the same way they did when they were 30, when they're 50, right? They're burned out. And that's something every physician deals with. And the career path that I was on was I was going to go to emergency medicine. And the reason I was going to pick emergency medicine was to try to combat some of the burnout. So the scheduling is like you work 16 days a month. You don't work every day. And one thing that's nice about emergency medicine is you kind of don't know what you're going to see every day, right? You could go in and it could be a kid, it could be someone pregnant, it could be a gunshot wound, it could be, it's just a whole flurry of different things, right? And your job as an ER physician is not to diagnose, it's more to like stabilize and pass on, right? And I thought that there would be a lot less burnout there. But yeah, long story short, man, when I fell in love with markets during COVID and I couldn't see myself going back, I was just like, I want to bet on myself here. As simple as that. Doc, you could do something similar to what Follow says with running small accounts. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that actually for a long time now. I've been wanting to do like a public account run up and stuff like that. I don't know. The idea of starting with $1,000 doesn't seem that fun, but I could definitely do it. The thing with me, like at this point, if I start with $1,000, I'm not gonna want to trade like risking $50 for a trade or $100 of the trade. I would risk the entire $1,000 on the first trade. You know, it would be more of like a zero or a hero type of account. I would use the full fucking margin every trade until we got to like 10, 20K, and then we could calm it down. Have we discussed anything about ICM? Oh, did you post your handle in chat? You asked me to unblock you. I didn't see if you did that or not. If you did and I missed it, you can type it again. Don't you want to save lives? There's always a reality where I could go back to medicine. I don't know at this point though, because I'm so far removed from the match. Like I'm 4 years out now or 3 years out. Such a gap there. And also, like, I don't remember shit either. Like, I'm not sharp right now. I haven't been thinking about medicine in a long time. I'm gonna have to go restudy a lot of shit just because I have the credentials to get interviews and stuff and apply for the match. I'm not gonna feel confident walking into work and being like, I'm a dumbass, you know? That stuff doesn't stick with you unless you keep using it and thinking about it. You stop thinking about this stuff, it goes from your memory real quick. Do you think after the cycle many are going to log off? I think there's a reality where I don't want to say the words and jinx it, but you guys know what I'm going to say. I think there's that reality out there, and in many ways we've already done that. We've already left altcoins in the past. We've already put, like, we looked at ORDI earlier. This thing's in a bear market and has been in a bear market for a year. This thing has been in a bear market for over a year, right? So there's a reality where, like, you know, we could just keep bringing up different shitcoins, and Bitcoin could do these 9-month ranges, and we find a whole new batch of shitcoins to mark up and rinse and repeat. I'm not going to say the words, though, because I don't want to jinx it. Imagine studying the Krebs cycle again. Yeah, I couldn't, dude. I'm not going to do lysosomal storage diseases and shit, no. Thankfully for me, I don't have to do basic sciences. All I'm going to have to do is, like, clinicals and probably touch up on, like, physiology, pathology. Biochemistry, I don't think you're gonna, if I don't remember Krebs cycle, I don't think it's gonna matter. All right, let's unblock Vishal. That'll be the final thing for the stream today. I've got some BONK bot announcements probably next week for you guys, so oh, yeah, you are blocked. I don't recognize you or recognize your name or anything like that, so it might have been an accident. Maybe I thought you were a bot, dude. I block a lot of bots. Like, you know, the shilling, like, this guy's great, follow him in the replies, so it might have been an accident, man. All right, boys, let's call the stream there. I appreciate all you guys. If you want to hit the like or subscribe on your way out, I would appreciate that. I hope you guys have a good rest of your weeks, and let's, oh, I didn't put the outro. I don't have the outro yet on my new PC. We don't get little dancing doc today, but I'll still play a song. I can play a song on the way out. Later, boys. Have a good one.